Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. If, as we've discussed before, there seems to be something of a religious revival, albeit small, going on in the increasingly secular West, one phrase of Scripture seems more relevant and appropriate than ever. It's the short verse in the first letter of St. Peter, where he instructs Christ's followers, that's all of us, to always be ready to give an answer for the hope that is in you, with meekness and fear. Other translations say defense rather than answer, and gentleness and reverence rather than meekness and fear. This, rather than all the conferences, brochures, or dare I say synods, is actually what evangelization is, something we are called to by virtue of our baptism. The questioning of an inquirer presupposes that the hope is in you will in some way be obvious. They may know, for example, that you go to church every Sunday, the minimum sign we might say, but that image of hope within would indicate much more than weekly attendance. It would be a way of life, an attitude to life and its vicissitudes that is strikingly different to others without faith. Perhaps our first examination of conscience moment, if that's not the case. It's not walking around with an inane grin or an enervating non-stop power of positive thinking. A Christian is not some kind of infomercial salesman. It's more what we could call a world view, a way of relating to the world that is in its essence not secular. Since these stories of revival started emerging over recent months, there is more and more evidence of people, usually fairly young, not boomers in other words, who have no concept of the faith but are seeking, coming to church or inquiring. The first point of contact for many, if not most, is you and me, to give that reason for our hope. Why are we believers? Can we communicate in cogent and attractive terms, with gentleness or meekness, why Christ and his church are where human life finds meaning? More than ever, that ability to communicate, to have the answer, needs not only good formation, theological understanding and education, but language. I've been saying for years that we need to explain the faith in terminology which is orthodox, with a small o, but which is comprehensible to a society which doesn't even know the basics of the faith. It is, as I've said before, an issue which our leaders don't seem to have any sense of, which risks this God-given moment being wasted. The challenge is obviously for priests and bishops to wake up to this reality and emerge from the bubble of isolation and jargon instilled in the seminary. But the real challenge, brethren, is for you, laymen and women who are in the front line. I know many feel inadequate. If asked the reason for your faith, many might say upbringing, habit, and while valid, just belief. The trouble is that's not good enough. St. Peter says we have to be able to give the reason. I'm going to recommend a book to you. I do that once in a while. A friend recommended it to me. It's written for an Orthodox audience, mainly, with a capital O, but there's really nothing in it which a Catholic could object to, far from it. I think it's actually the single best short book of apologetics, the word literally meaning speaking in defense, that I've read in years. The writer, Dr. Zachary Porciu, addresses all the issues I've been talking about, and the most critical, the difficulty of a sacramental worldview in a secular age. The book is called Journey to Reality, Sacramental Life in a Secular Age. My book's full of highlighting. I won't get any royalties, but I guarantee you, if you want to take your responsibilities seriously and be equipped to give that reason when asked, this is the book for you. Brethren, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, like a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.